So I'm going to hand this off in a moment to Darshan, who's going to show you the sound design stuff. And yeah, so Darshan, while we're switching over, do you want to tell us a bit about the example game that generously been provided for us to showcase today?
Yes, okay. So what happened is actually I got to have the chance to work with one of your seniors for their FYP project called Dark Angel. I think I can start sharing the screen first. I'll show you the asset sheet first, and like from there on, I'll transition to how the sound was made. Yeah. So their game is a like top-down, like kind of like Darksiders kind of game. So like medieval gothic. So first I'll go through the asset sheet and how we did the work together, because this is like a part of project management, and a team usually like the role would be designated to like the game designers, but honestly like anyone can be in charge of project management. You need to know what to look out for. So for this project, what's important is the status of the sounds, the priorities, or like how important the sounds are. The sounds are like the good to have, nice to have, and the must haves. So this is also my communication to the team as well. So status is like, okay, what I've done, what I've submitted, what has been approved. So naturally, if I've submitted it already, then I'll put the yellow. And if it's green, then like the team would say, okay, like they like it, then they'll update it there. Then if there's anything else to change, then they'll like contact me. Then like we'll discuss, okay, what needs to be changed, what the game needs, so on and so forth. This is like also from a template on how I do my project management. What's important is as well the category of the sound, like who does the sound belong to, what does the sound belong to, the characters. So moving on to the skill name, the function, just a simple name is fine. File name, this one can be customized to your group. SFX variety, I used to have a column or like a row here just to show like how many of each sounds you would like. But I'd say it's actually safer to just put it out on the spot, like how many different kinds of sounds you would need, like footsteps. So your characters, animations, like it has like if it's bipedal, maybe you want like two footsteps, but you don't want it to sound like too repetitive. So maybe you want to have a different variation of those footsteps. Later on, when I'll be passing it over to Jans, he can also show you how, with using a middleware, you can actually like tweak these kind of things like a little bit more, like with pictures, so on and so forth. Moving on, this is the full asset sheet. What's important for the game as well would be the video capture of the animations. If you already have assets provided already, you can give it to the audio person. Then from there, the audio person can work on the sounds. Because if there's a visual reference, then it will be much easier to do it. Then video reference, the video reference of how you want the sound to sound like. Like if you want it to sound like a character from Halo, then you link videos from Halo. Loop, if the sound is loopable, or if you want the sound to be looping, usually looping sounds would be for ambience. Usually non-looping sounds would be just sounds that would just go like one shot, like maybe a footstep or like a sword slash. Sonic description or audio notes are the descriptions of how you want the sound to sound like. This is information for the team and as well for whoever is in charge of the audio. So going through all of this, the workflow, it can be similar to how you were taught to do games as well, like pre-production, production, post-production. Pre-production is the fleshing out of the world, how you want your sound to sound like, what is the mood of the game, what is the theme, what is the location. So in this game, Dark Angel is in a castle. The floor is like stone. So the character is wearing armor. So the kind of sounds you want to make is like metallic sounds, echoey sounds, or like these are the things you need to keep in mind. And as well as the attacks, the monster grunts, all of this can be different. Like comparing games like Animal Crossing and Animal Crossing and Hades, they're both very different games. So you need to understand what kind of game you want to make. So in production is when the sound starts being made. You want to try your best to not change too much in your game, like whether it's the animation or even like the sound direction, because with each change, it may affect the production for the sound or the animation as well. So you have to work hand in hand. If there are changes, you need to let the sound person know as soon as possible. Or if the sound person has any like suggestions, then they can also let them know as soon as possible as well. You also need to keep in mind of what sounds you may be missing, because for sound it's very easy to forget also like what you need for your game and what may be overlooked, like UI sounds, impact sounds. UX is also included into this. So you need to keep in mind also like what kind of sounds you need everywhere. The sound cannot just be functional. The sound should also enhance the experience of the games, whether it is the sound is just there to make you feel good or to like make the game like just a little bit nicer to listen to. Ambience also. Ambience is very easy to notice when it's not there. Yeah, so like these kind of things are very easy to notice when it's not there, but it's very difficult to point out what is wrong with it. So that's production, and then post-production would be like cleanup, like if you want to improve your sounds, if you want to like make it sound a little bit better, or like if there's anything missing, you can also like put it in. So like the idea is to try not to put things like sound like all the way at the end of the production phase, because then it may leave room for a lot of error. What you want to have is like a steady progression. So the link that I sent in the chat is a link to how Supergiant game does their stuff. So I think that's a very good example of how a audio workflow can be like. Moving on to the demo asset sheet. So I've just selected like a few sounds to make and to showcase. A DAW is a digital audio workstation. So it is stuff like Audacity, FL Studio, I use Reaper and like Cubase, so on and so forth. I personally like Reaper because like it is free to use. You can pay for it if you need to. Yeah, this is what I use. And in context also, like when I was working, I was using Nuendo, which is like similar to Cubase. But then when I stopped working already, this is like the idea is that you can change workstations if you need to. All right. So I'll just show you like, oh yeah.
So they just jump in, just to mention, because so Dashan uses Reaper. I myself, because I also do audio editing, to use Pro Tools. But like when I do music composition, I actually switch to Logic for that. And I think Elmo, you use Cubase, right?
Yep. I use Cubase, and I juggle between Cakewalk and Pro Tools for other reasons as well. Just a rule of thumb to everybody: it doesn't matter which DAW you use, as long as you're comfortable with it and as long as it gets the job done.
Yeah, what's it?
All right. Okay.
Yes, carry on, Dasha.
So if you can see that there should be a video here. If you can't, let me know. So this is the video reference that I got from the game itself. So you see, like, I'll start with the ambience first, and this is the ambience I have for the game, as well as the footsteps in the background. Okay, so this where you get your sounds from. So I got my sounds like either from buying them like Humble Bundle or like websites like A Sound Effects, so on and so forth, or like you can also create your own sounds. So I'm using like a tool called the Zoom Recorder, the H5, I think, which is nice. But if you're just like starting out, so like you shouldn't worry too much about especially if you're a student like of how your sound is like. You can use your phone to start out with. Like if you just want to try it out, just get whatever you can. Free sounds is fine also. So for the castle ambience, what to take note of is you want to make sure that it is loopable. It is long enough. Usually for games is if you can have it 10 seconds, that's fine. 30 seconds would be my like safest number to go through. Then to have in the background the fall metal thing over here. These are things that will be happening like randomly in the background. So how you can make it sound better is when you put it in the middleware, it can actually like chime in like randomly, that you can use a tool that makes it happen randomly in the background, like a randomizer of sorts.
Yeah, I'll be showing that in a little bit after we go through Dashan's sound design.
Okay, so I'll move on to the footsteps, because this is a little bit more how you want to craft sounds. So over here, the context that is important is like the material of the sound or what kind of character it is. Like, so I mentioned the character is like wearing armor, so like you want to have a metallic kind of sound. You can use like fork and spoons, or you can like even like use your boot, like step and stomp. That's fine also. Another thing to note about buying and making sounds, like if you have like a set of sounds you find that is nice enough, that's fine, because there's only so many ways you can make like a footstep sound or like a whooshing sound effect like that. So it's fine if you like can find or like buy certain sounds or make certain sounds. Usually making is also like faster lah. Depends on your workflow. Okay, so this is how it sounds like all together. Individually, this is the footstep sound. So this is the boot. This is the metallic layer. And this is the armor clanking sound. So like, because your character is moving, so that's movement you want to have inside. Because just having this alone, like sure, that is functional. Your character has a footstep sound effect. But if you add this in, okay, then you also know like, oh, your character is wearing armor, like the character is moving around a bit. Then as for the number of footsteps, if you want to have multiple sounds inside of it, you know, like multiple variations, that's fine. You don't want to make it sound like too repetitive. So that's a simple, so that is one sound. I'll move on to the sword slashing sound. So I'll mute this first. Mute. So that's a whooshing sound effect, but then that alone could sound a bit like dull. So to add like a bit more fullness inside of it, you could add like a different layer under it. And let me just mess around with this first. Okay, so they both sound similar. So certain things to take note of, like when sound designing, is also like the frequencies of your sound. So I can't show you the window for like messing around with the EQ, because that messes up with the stream. But what basically means is like some sounds has like a higher frequency or like a higher pitch, and some sound has like a lower like pitch. So like the bass sounding sounds, or like high pitch kind of sounding sounds. So those sounds alone may not be what you need in your game. To have a sound full, you kind of want to have to balance every part of the sound. So it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, or kind of like in art also, like you have your different layers. So you want to have like enough opacity between all the different kinds of sounds. You have to, okay, so I saw a question asking about needing to EQ your sound or not. Yes, or me lah, like most of the time you have to EQ your sounds, but only if you know what you want your sounds to be. So let's say if your sound sample has too much, or the sound you recorded has too much of the bass inside of it, there's like too much lows, then you cut it off. And then you have a different sound that has the right number or the right amount of bass that you need, then you can use that sound instead, you can layer it together. So like for example, this sound is a bit like, it's very low, it's a bit heavy sounding. And then this one is high, so it's like slightly like high pitch kind of thing. So but then if you add it together, so it sounds a bit more full. It doesn't sound like it's too little or too much. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we kind of have to just like find a balance in between everything and enhance whatever that we need to.
Also, it can depend on your intention. Like again, like JoJo, like or anime sound effects. A lot of their sounds are very exaggerated. And if that is what you want in your game as well, that is fine. A game jam that I did last time, the director specifically asked for all my sounds to be like peaked, to like go as loud as possible. So you do that. You need to understand what your intention is. Impact sounds are important. If you have like a deep bomb pitch inside of it, make it sound like big, chunky, impactful, that's fine. Okay, moving on.